War is supposed to destroy, not invent, and yet every major conflict leaves behind something unexpected, traces of creation hiding in the rubble. During World War II, while cities burned and skies roared with engines, a quieter kind of battle took place behind laboratory doors. Scientists, engineers, and dreamers were racing not just to win a war, but to solve impossible problems, problems that would, unknowingly, shape the future you live in now. They needed lighter materials, faster communication, longer shelf lives. They needed ways to preserve, to protect, to heal. And in the pressure cooker of survival, innovation became instinct out. Of that urgency came tools, so ordinary today barely notice them. The nylon in your clothes, the pen in your hand, the radar in your car, the medicine in your cabinet. War, for all its cruelty, has a strange way of forcing humanity to evolve. It strips away comfort until only ingenuity remains. In the 1940s, invention wasn't a hobby. It was survival disguised as progress. And though peace eventually returned, the things born in that darkness never left us. They linger quietly in our kitchens, our hospitals, our pockets. Reminders that even in destruction, creation finds a way. The hum of your microwave, the hiss of instant coffee, the convenience of a frozen meal. They all trace their lineage to a time when food meant survival, not comfort. In the 1940s, the kitchen was an extension of the battlefield. Soldiers needed nourishment that could travel oceans, and last months without spoiling. Scientists and engineers, faced with scarcity, turned desperation into innovation. Out of that hunger for efficiency came inventions that now feed the modern world. Radar operators, for instance, once noticed that chocolate bars in their pockets melted near active equipment. A small, strange observation that led to the birth of the microwave oven. Freeze-dried food, powdered eggs, and instant coffee were born from the same urgency. To keep soldiers alive on the move. Canned goods, once symbols of wartime austerity, became icons of convenience in peacetime. Households, every meal we heat in minutes carries a faint echo of those laboratories and field. Kitchens, the pursuit of nourishment in chaos gave rise to a culture of speed. Food engineered, not just to last, but to adapt. The same creativity that once fueled armies now fuels our mornings. And perhaps, without realizing it, we've inherited their instinct to turn pressure into possibility and necessity into invention. Even in something as simple as breakfast, every thread you wear carries a story of survival. During World War II, clothing wasn't fashion. It was strategy. Silk, once used for luxury gowns and parachutes alike, grew scarce, forcing scientists to search for substitutes. From that urgency, nylon was born, the first fully synthetic fabric, durable enough for parachutes, stockings, and rope. What began as a military solution quietly rewove the fabric of civilian life. The same spirit shaped every layer of innovation. Waterproof coatings protected soldiers in rain-soaked trenches and later inspired the outdoor jackets we trust today. Velcro, that familiar rip of fastening, came from a Swiss engineer studying burrs caught on his uniform. An idea borrowed from nature and perfected for soldiers, gear before finding its way to children's shoes and spacesuits. In those years, clothing became armor, invention, identity. It blurred the line between survival and style. What once shielded soldiers from wind and flame now shelters us from weather and wear. The modern wardrobe, flexible, resilient, adaptable, was born in a time when adaptability meant life itself. Every zipper, every stitch of synthetic thread whispers the same truth. Comfort was once a battlefield victory. Speed was the new language of war. Every second counted, in the air, at sea, on the ground. Engineers raced against time itself, designing machines that could outfly, outmaneuver, and outlast the enemy. From that feverish urgency came inventions that reshaped how we move, think, and communicate. Jet propulsion, first imagined in desperate pursuit of aerial dominance, would later carry travelers calmly across continents. The same pressurized cabins that shielded pilots from thin, freezing air now cradle passengers above the clouds. Synthetic rubber, once rationed to keep vehicles rolling when natural supplies ran dry, became the silent foundation of every tire on every road. Even the humble ballpoint pen, born from the need to write quickly and reliably in cockpits, turned wartime practicality into everyday convenience. Each innovation was a fragment of acceleration, built in chaos but destined for continuity. The war taught humanity how to compress time, to turn hours into minutes, distance into data, motion into mastery. What began as a race for survival became a rehearsal for modern life, where speed is no longer the exception, but the expectation. And beneath every engine's roar or ink's smooth glide lies a truth, forged in urgency, that progress often begins not with inspiration, but with pressure. In the chaos of war, medicine became both weapon and mercy. Every wound, every life hanging by a thread demanded innovation. The battlefield forced doctors to confront human fragility on an unimaginable scale, and in that crucible of urgency, modern medicine was born. Penicillin, discovered years earlier but produced only in small quantities, was suddenly needed by the ton. Factories were retooled, scientists collaborated across borders, and within months, the miracle drug once confined to laboratories was saving soldiers by the thousands. Blood plasma, a concept still in its infancy, became a lifeline, allowing medics to treat the wounded far from hospitals. New surgical techniques, honed in makeshift tents, became the foundation of trauma care and reconstructive surgery as we know it. War didn't make humanity more compassionate, but it revealed how deeply that compassion could drive innovation. Doctors, nurses, and chemists weren't chasing glory, they were racing against loss. Their discoveries didn't end with peace. They followed us home, into hospitals and pharmacies, into the quiet confidence that illness can be fought and pain relieved. The tools of survival they forged under fire now serve us in calm, reminders that even in humanity's darkest moments, the instinct to heal burns brighter than destruction ever could. Before technology became personal, it was strategic. During World War II, nations battled not only on land and sea, but through invisible fields of signal and sound. Radar, sonar, and early computers were weapons of awareness, machines designed to see the unseen. Yet from those instruments of detection came the foundations of our connected world. Radar's ability to read distance through invisible waves led to the birth of modern aviation safety, weather forecasting, and even the motion sensors in our homes. The codebreakers of Bletchley Park, laboring over endless ciphers, built the first programmable computers, vast, humming machines that turned secrecy into calculation. Their mission was to win a war. Their legacy was to teach humanity how to think in binary. Sonar's deep echoes, once used to track submarines, became tools for exploring the ocean's mysteries and mapping the planet itself. Every signal that now travels through the air, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, carries the faint imprint of those wartime frequencies. What began as a struggle for dominance became a blueprint for connection. In trying to master the invisible, they taught us how to live in it. The war ended, but its inventions never did. They slipped quietly into peacetime, stripped of uniforms, dressed in utility, and folded into ordinary life. What was once urgent became invisible, so familiar we stopped noticing. Yet every comfort we hold, warmth, medicine, speed, connection, carries the fingerprint of necessity. The true legacy of World War II isn't just in the monuments or medals, but in the everyday miracles it left behind. It reminds us that creation and destruction are not opposites. They're twins born of the same human restlessness. Out of fear came progress, out of scarcity came imagination, and from chaos came design. When you turn on a light, zip a jacket, or heat a meal, you're touching history's quiet resilience, proof that even in our darkest hours, the human instinct to build endures. Sometimes survival doesn't shout, it invents.